Can't you just see the horses running? And that's, now where do you think you're going? They thought they could slip out quietly. Have fun. This next song I wrote, and it's very special to me, and I always think of Silver Dollar City when I sing it, because Fred, the guy that I was telling you about up top, that works with the Mustangs, he actually lives on the Missouri-Arkansas border in an area where the Upper Buffalo River is. The Upper Buffalo Wilderness area now is there now. And so when I was here for a big long stint, on one of the days off, he took my husband and I on a trail ride on the Upper Buffalo River. I have to tell you, I mean, I'm from, the Rockies and the Sierra Nevada mountains, and there's some pretty spectacular scenery there. But I was not ready to see how gorgeous. I was not expecting how beautiful that Upper Buffalo River area. It was spectacular, and it was so stunning to be able to be riding a horseback. And he was telling us the story of the area as we're riding along. And he talked about how when he was a boy growing up, that this was all dotted with farms. The people who had homesteaded in the late 1800s. And you could still see the cabins as we were riding along, falling down, of course, at this point, but still there. And so he was telling us the story of all this. And there's one special lady that he loved. Her name was Granny. And he said his dad used to buy cattle from her. And he loved to go with his dad to Granny's because while his dad was out looking at the cattle, he would sit with Granny on a rocking chair on the front porch with this incredible vista of the mountains out there. And he said we would sit there and talk. And he was like 9, 10 years old. And he said she'd go get him a cup of coffee. And she'd give it to him, load it up with sugar and cream. And she would talk to him like he was an adult. And he thought that that was the coolest thing ever. He loved Granny. Well, in the 70s, the government decided that they needed to preserve this area and turn it into a wilderness. So they went around buying up all these farms. Some of them were happy to sell. They were delighted. They could get out of Dodge. Other people, not so much. And one of those people was Granny. She did not want to leave. In fact, she refused to leave. Well, she was pretty ancient looking. So the government finally said, okay, how about this? You can live there for as long as you live until you choose to come off the mountain, and then the land will go to the government. And so they agreed. Granny's like, I lived on this, I was born here, I'm riding here, in this cabin. So everything was going along great, except Granny was living a lot longer than the government thought she was going to. Well, they kept their word. They didn't make her leave, but they made it really difficult for her to stay. So they took away her animals, that she could not keep animals. Now, she was self-sufficient, her own milk cow, her eggs, all of that, so she could have none of that. Then they took away her garden. She could not do her garden. But when they said she could not build a fire in the fireplace, that's when her family came and got her, and they said, Mom, you can't stay here. We've got to get you off the mountain. So they did. And when they did, 2 weeks later, she died. Now, we had just had lunch on her front porch, and we were headed back to the trailhead at that point. And he said that everybody was pretty angry when that happened, because they all loved Granny. Why couldn't they just leave her alone and let her just die peacefully on the mountain? But he said, not too long after Granny died, he said the developers discovered that whole area. Now, they still were a little bit ouchy about the way they handled things with Granny. But when those developers discovered that area and started buying it all up and making little ranchettes, and they couldn't ride that property anymore, couldn't ride that land, the only thing they could still ride was the Upper Buffalo. He said we were so grateful that it was still here for us and that we would be able to enjoy it. And really the sacrifice that Granny and all the others made was a gift to the rest of us. Now you can't throw a line like that out to a songwriter and think it's not going to get turned into a song. So by the time we got back to the horse trailers, I think I had the song mapped out in my brain. And so please let me take you along the buffalo. Autumn sun is shining through the sweet gum trees. A gentle breeze is blowing down a rain of golden leaves. The pony's moving easy as we take it kind of slow along the buffalo, along the buffalo. Along the trail the canebirds form a wall of gentle green. That sky peeking through the trees, the bluest I've ever seen. Morning air is crisp and clear, the kind of day that thrills your soul along the buffalo, along the buffalo. Oh, we ride past empty shells that once held thriving families, where cattle grazed and hayfields grew, now stand the sweet gum trees. Though they are gone, we still feel them as we go along the buffalo, along the buffalo. Catch a breath as Granny's cabin burst into our view. The stories in that aging wood are now known to only few. How it broke her heart to leave here, but she didn't want to go from the buffalo, from the buffalo. Washington claimed this land for posterity. Way of life was sacrificed to give to you and me. So we ride in quiet reverence, paying tribute as we go to those good folk who once lived along the buffalo. Turn our ponies back along the bluffs from whence we came. It was just a simple trail ride, but we'll never be the same. Its beauty wrapped around our hearts like a thread, purest gold along the buffalo, along the buffalo. Oh, we ride past empty shells that once held thriving families, where cattle grazed and hayfields grew, now stand the sweet gum trees. And though they are gone, we still feel them as we go along the buffalo, along the buffalo.